Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, I am here with the champ, the official FightersRep super welterweight champ of the world, Wilson. Hi, what's going on, champ?
Hey, what's up, George? Don't mind the Christmas tree in the back. I just got too lazy to put it down.
I see a lot of decor back there. What you got going on back there, Wilson?
No, I was talking about the Christmas tree. I was like, don't mind the Christmas tree. I just haven't had time to take it down.
Yeah, but I see some other stuff. That red thing that's hanging down that looks pretty cool. Uh, you got a whole bunch of plants back there.
Oh yeah, it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo plants. The fireplace doesn't work, so we just put like picture frames and it's TV.
Very cool. And what's the red thing dangling down from the windowsill?
Oh, see, those are the Chinese lanterns. Well, I don't know if you know, but it was Chinese New
Right,
Year's like
right.
a couple days ago. Yeah. So try and put a little bit up, try and bring in that like nice feng shui in here.
I love it. I love it, Wilson. So, for the people that don't know, Wilson is the official FightersRep super welterweight champ. Wilson, it's been so long, man, since
Right?
it's been so long since I've had the pleasure of not only seeing you in person, but watching you compete in the Lions Den, man. What have you been up to this entire
Hi.
time, man?
Oh, well, to start things off, let's see. Last year, around this time, I was preparing for a four-man tournament for that WCK fight.
I see. I
Um,
see.
and it was on March, I think my fight was on March 16th. I can't quite remember anymore, but I remember my girl waking me up. Okay, it was like week of the fight. I'm cutting weight, I'm getting ready, hungry. Oh, well, I need that fight, especially because two of the guys that I fought and I lost by split decision were on that four-man tournament. So it felt like my opportunity to, kind of like right my wrongs.
Right, right, right.
So I was amped up for it. I was like, ooh, I'm ready, I'm ready. And then that was like the best weight cut I've ever had because I was like maybe I she told me on Thursday. So that time I was fighting at 147, and this is the first time where I'm like relatively close to my weight before my weight, like before the final the weigh-ins. I was I want to say 150, so I was like maybe 3 pounds out. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
doable, especially with 2 days left or one day because we weigh in on Friday. But yeah, I was feeling good. My girl woke me up and she's like, "Hey, I got bad news." I was like, "What do you mean you got bad news?" She's like, "You might not fight." I was like, "Bullshit. What do you mean I might not fight?" And then I looked on my phone and then I realized like, people were saying, "Oh, the governor made a restriction on like how many people you could have at events, no more than 100 people." I was like, "Ooh." Right away, I called the promoter, asked him. He's like, "Oh shit, I didn't know about that. I'll call you right back." A minute later, he called me back. He's like, "Yeah, fight got scratched." And you know what? After that, I've been in camp since.
Man, so nonstop training since basically March.
Basically, crew had to taper me down a little bit. He's like, "Dude, you don't want to burn out." He's like, "We don't even know when you're gonna fight."
Right, right, right.
At first, you're like, "Oh, just stay ready, stay ready." You'll never know. It might just open back up out of nowhere. But month after month after month, it's frustrating.
No, it's
Going from fighting every other month into complete standstill.
yeah, yeah. No, it's just ridiculous. Wilson, believe it or not, man, our last event, the last event we got off, which I wish we would have had you on, but I know you were interested in competing in that tournament. It was the
Yeah.
28th of February. I mean, we just barely squeaked that some bitch off before this whole thing shut down, man.
Right?
And it was a great event. Obviously, better with you on it if that would have been possible. But I'm sure we'll get you for the next one. I wanted to ask you about that though. Now that you bring that up, Wilson, I know you were training for a Muay Thai. That tournament was a Muay Thai tournament. Am I right?
Yeah, Maple tournament. Correct.
Well, we do the unified rules kickboxing rule set. A little bit different, obviously.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what is your experience uh, regarding the difference between the rule sets? that we employ at Fighters Rep, which is the unified rules kickboxing versus the traditional Muay Thai rule set that you typically compete in?
Well, for me, I love the kickboxing rules. Just because sometimes I get a little lazy, I don't clinch as much. And that's what I've been losing on for the Muay Thai fights because I just get so laid back and I just want to stand there and bang. When my opponents clinch me, and I'm like, okay, I'll just let you clinch a little bit. I'm just gonna like just wait until they break me up just so I can get that moment back in, which results in, split decision losses on my
Right,
part,
right, right.
I don't get hurt, but I didn't do enough. I lacked on the clinch. Which brings me back to the kickboxing part. Oh, I love the fact that you can just stand there and bang back and forth. That's my fighting style.
Yeah.
That's what helped me a lot when I fought for your promotion, which I loved it. Oh my god.
Thank you, Wilson. Dude, that means a ton when you say that, man.
I've had one of my best fights on your card. You know,
Which one? Which one? Because look, both of your fights for us have just been an absolute spectacle and an absolute barn burner. I mean, when I think of Wilson Ha fighting, I believe you're Chinese American. Is that right, Wilson?
yeah,
But I mean,
correct.
I think of I think of those old school Mexican boxers when I think of the way you fight, man. You just come forward and you go to war every second of every minute of the round. So I need to hear which fight is your favorite because they were both really great fights.
My favorite has got to be with Oscar. That was that was tremendous. I mean, both me and him were in like best shape of our lives,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
woo, that was a fun fight. That was a fun fight. The fact that we could just stand, well, actually, both of them were pretty fun. I mean, both. I got to give it to my opponents. I mean, I love the fact that they stand there and bang with me back and forth, back and forth. I mean, some people say that's not like the smartest way to fight, but I like it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like I like to challenge myself. I like to put myself in a position where I'm really uncomfortable. If that makes
Yeah, no,
sense.
for sure, Wilson. I want to ask you about that as well, but before I get into that, Bam Bam Still, who's the referee at most of our events, he's obviously
Yeah.
the one of the co-founders of the IKF. I believe he was vice president. Now he's a referee for not only our events but major boxing events and MMA events as well. Very experienced guy. I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
knew this. He was a 17-0 kickboxer with 15 knockouts. I mean,
Oh,
Bam Bam is the real deal. And
wow.
he literally told me, Wilson, that the best fight that he's ever seen in the Lions Den was you versus Oscar Mueller. So it's pretty awesome that you also think that that's the best fight you've had.
Wow. That's cool. Coming from Bam,
Yeah,
especially.
yeah, dude, that was an absolute war. I mean, were you fatigued at any point in that fight? Because that was just 5 rounds of absolute war, man.
Like, uh, I think I was fatigued for most of it. I mean, I remember we came off the bat just right to it. There was no feeling out. It was just straight bop, bop.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
right when we started letting those hands go, it was like nonstop. It's give back and forth. And it was tiring.
Th-
And I remember just thinking, fuck, I can't let go now. I can't let up. I just have to keep the momentum going. I know that the moment if I let go and I show that I'm tired, he's gonna overwhelm me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I figured, fuck, I just gotta fucking bite into my mouthpiece and just poker face it.
Did you guys know each other? Because I mean, we did do the all the smoke lead up to your fight with Oscar to kind of hype up the fight, and I noticed there was a tremendous amount of respect between the two of you. I mean, did you know about Oscar? Did you know anything about him?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Muay Thai circle is pretty small, and then we found the same card a couple times. I've seen him around, and I've always knew about him, but I never thought we are gonna fight each other just because I fight at 147, he fights at
Yeah,
154.
yeah,
I didn't think it was gonna clash, but when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, yeah, why
yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, 154, 147. That's another interesting question, Wilson. Are you going to stick around at 154? Are you going to drop down to 147? I mean, what's the outlook for you?
Crew likes me at 147, but for me, I can do 147. It's just a tough cut.
Yeah.
I walk around at like right now. I'm walking around like 165,
Okay. Okay.
but before I was walking around at like 170, 175. Especially after my fights, I blow up because
Yeah.
I have a really strict diet when I'm training for a fight, and I have this thing where like I love food. So for that whole month that I don't get to eat what I want after my win or after the fights, the next 2 weeks I splurge.
Yeah.
I eat
Yeah.
whatever I want.
I have that thing too, unfortunately, Wilson. I love food too, my brother. Hey, Wilson,
Right?
Wilson, let me ask you, what is it that you love to eat when you're done cutting weight after a fight? I mean, if you could sit down and have a meal, what is it that Wilson Ha wants?
Korean barbecue.
Oh man, yeah.
Mhm. Man, I miss it. Oh. I always have these like go-to spots I always go to after my
Yeah.
fights. I have a friend of mine. I don't want to like put his name out just because I don't want like other vegan people to get mad. But he was vegan for a good minute. But he kept going to my fights, and every time we go to my fight, we always go to like a Korean barbecue spot after, and we'll be eating. We'll be eating. He'll be sitting there just munching on like salad and stuff. I have nothing against vegans.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm all for it. It's whatever you believe in, whatever makes you happy. So one day he's like, you know what? This smells way too good. And he tried one bite, and next thing you know, he just kind of fell off the wagon.
Damn. Wilson.
Yeah, but you know,
Wilson, you're turning out vegans, man. You're going crazy over there, brother. Wilson, how long is it that you've been fighting and competing?
well, let me see. I did, I started smokers, like those exhibition fights at Seigatong, I think end of 2015.
Wow, so it's you haven't been competing for a very long time then, right? 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. And before that, were you, into any kind of martial arts? Because I remember when we did the all the smoke lead up for you. You were talking about your upbringing and how you kind of you left the country. I mean, it's a bit of a wild story, man. You left the country, you discovered Muay Thai. I mean, before we get into all that, I mean, were you competing at any point before all that? Were you in karate class or anything like that?
No, I did discover Muay Thai back in like 2012 in
Yeah,
China.
yeah.
Like I told you guys in the previous interview, it was there that I discovered Muay Thai because saw these tiny little Asian kids like just smacking pads, and at that time I was 22. And I was like, damn, those kids will beat my ass up.
Yeah.
And I was a pretty cocky motherfucker back then too. So, and that's my dog.
I thought I thought that was a cow for a second. What the hell was that, Wilson?
Nice. Scotty.
There he is. Hey, there's the young lady. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just interviewing the champ.
Sorry for
It's all
interrupting.
good. It's all good.
But yeah, no.
20, so you started at 22? I mean, dude, that's kind of late, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually pretty late. I mean, it's not like I was. I mean, I did like backyard boxing when I was like in middle school. That was my, I guess, that was experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. So 22 years old, you started. Would you say you were kind of beat up by these small kids at the beginning and kind of had to, learn a few lessons in humility before before making it where you've made it now?
Oh yeah, of course. I definitely got humbled because I remember because with my little stupid little gangbanger mindset back then, I think I could beat anybody
Yeah.
up. I used to watch like those like couple like WCK fights that would show up on TV late at night. And I used to think, man, I could beat them up. If I was in there, I could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely could. But yeah, that was not the case. First time I ever stepped into a gym, they were just tossing me left and right.
Wow. Wilson, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in California?
Yeah, I grew up in California. I was actually born in Orange County long time ago, 1989.
That's not that long ago.
Oh, for some people.
That's not too long.
But yeah, I was born in Orange County, and then eventually moved like San Gabriel Valley,
Yeah.
out in the area. Yeah.
And I guess at some point, I mean, you kind of started hanging with the wrong crowd. Is that where all the gang banging and stuff started happening?
Well, basically, my mom was never home, single mother. I can't blame her. She's always trying to just make ends meet. Nobody really there to like guide me, and I could see, especially once I got to like a certain age, I could see like, okay, that crowd, man, they drive nice cars. Oh, they dress nice, and they get all the girls, and they walk, the way they carry themselves a little more different. And then the fact that they saw something in me, I was like, oh shit, all right, wow, that's a first.
Yeah.
Especially going to school, I was never the smart kid. I always just kind of went by, did my thing. But these guys, older kids, they saw something in me and hit me up. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Hung out.
Yeah. Did you get into a lot of fights in school? I mean, when was this?
This was back in, I think, 06, 07. At that time, I was going to El Monte High School, and yeah, there was a couple fights, especially around that time. There wasn't much Asians in school to begin with,
Yeah.
So I always felt like, especially during El Monte, I always felt like I had to like kind of like prove myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I mean, were a lot of the Asian kids kind of clicking up to protect themselves? Is that what it was?
Not even back then. There was a handful of Asians at El Monte at that time. Most of the kids were like, they had their own group. They were like in the GATE program.
Yeah.
They're all smart, so they all hung around with each other. And I didn't fit in,
Yeah. And were you a bit of a rough kid? I mean, did you like to fight, or did that kind of come about, later?
Came about a little bit. It came earlier. I do remember when first time I ever threw a punch, I think I was in 3rd grade. I was at Madrid Middle School. I remember I was standing in line, and kids will always cut me off. And then at that time, I'm like, okay, I really can't do anything. I don't know what to do. And kids will make fun of me, this and that.
Yeah.
Call me Chino Cochino. I was like,
Damn.
One day, it just happened. One day, kid cut me off, same kid every time.
Yeah.
He started pushing me. I was like, I just gritted my teeth, made a fist. At that time, I had a little keychain that our school gave us, a little star to it. I just held on to it. It was like a brass knuckle. I didn't deck his face with it. I socked him right in the cheek. But it hurt because it was like a little star.
Yeah.
Gave him a huge bruise, got in trouble, got sent home. And I was like, wow. And that was the first time I ever felt like, oh shit, if I do something, then I can prevent something.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever clicked in my head.
Did this guy hit you back? I mean, what happened when you hit him?
Well, basically, I hit him and he just started crying, and the teacher came over.
Oh, wow. Nice, man. Nice. Well, good on you, Wilson. I mean, not good that you eventually, joined those rough crowds, but hey, at the end of the day, I mean, it made you the man you are, right?
Yeah, of course, basically. I mean, fuck, I think the only reason I'm in love with like fighting and all that is because of how I grew up.
Yeah.
I think I'm always constantly looking for that, I guess, adrenaline.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you engage in any vices, Wilson? Do you drink? Do you smoke? Or is it just, you just like to eat and fight? Is that your thing?
Eat, fight, and I'm not gonna lie, I do smoke.
Got you.
Not cigarettes, though.
That's fine. We won't
healing.
We won't hold that against you, brother. You're allowed to do that.
Hey, but in this type of sport, you do need it. You need that. I'm not saying just take steroids, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do need something to help you relax, especially from like hard day of training. Everything hurts. You're inflamed. You need that little extra touch. You know.
Got you. Got you. Got you. No, that's totally understandable. And, you know, that's fascinating to me because some guys say, you know, it's great for, you know, being a fighter. But then some coaches I hear and some guys warn like, you know, oh, it might affect your like coordination or something like that. I mean, I guess it depends on the fighter. Do you find that it messes with your motor skills at all or do you feel totally sharp
Well,
regardless?
I mean, it's all about playing with the dosage. I mean, if I get super stoned, and yeah, I can't see shit, I'm gonna get beat up. But
Yeah, yeah.
as long as you're microdosing, for me, I microdose. Like before I spar, I'll take a little bit of like sativa edible, just
Yeah.
a little bit, just to help me relax, and then it kind of helps me open up. Like it sounds weird, but it helps me get into that stage where when you're going, you get like that matrix. Like you can see stuff kind of come in a little bit slower. You can react
Gotcha.
a little bit
Gotcha.
faster. But like I said, you just playing with the dosage. If I do too much, then I'm like, oh fuck, I'm too tired. I can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah. Wilson, have you been with Sit Yod Tong the whole time?
Ever since I came back, yeah. I remember when I came back. Well, I got locked up when I came back. When I got out, the first thing I did was I got a haircut, and then I went online and I looked up a whole list of like Muay Thai gyms in by my house. Well,
Yeah.
first I looked for Fairtex that was in San Francisco, but that was gone. It was closed. I was like, oh shit. Okay, then all right. Next best thing. I was like, you know what? I do remember a Sit Yat Tong LA in Pasadena, and I googled that. I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. It's in Pasadena. I moved a little bit, slightly closer, so I wrote that address down. And then I'll keep looking, and there was another Muay Thai gym that was just down the street from my house, like 2 blocks.
Yeah.
And that one was I think it was Flores Muay Thai. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna check out Siyatong first, just because I remember seeing it as a kid. And then the moment I got there, I was greeted by Josh Aragon, one of our pro fighters. And after him, he did the whole tutorial class with me. And I really liked his character and just shit that he was teaching. I was like, oh shit, this is pretty legit. And fuck the rest of the list. I just joined Sit. You know.
Nice, man. Nice. And how was your first interaction with Crew Walter? I mean, because he's a tough as nails, interesting guy. Obviously very, very credentialed, very qualified, but definitely a no nonsense kind of guy. I mean,
Yeah.
how was that? How was that relationship?
It was intimidating at first when I met Crew. I was like, oh shit, this is Crew Walter. You know, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
stories. I was like, oh shit, all right, that's Crew Walter. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start taking some of his classes, and fuck, I was just learning a lot.
Yeah.
We had like all these like old school techniques, you know. I was like, oh man, this is really legit Muay Thai. That's pretty cool. And then what really sold me over was when Crew started speaking in Thai. I was like, whoa.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Because then, there's some Thai people come to the gym and then Crew would just take advantage of it. We just be talking to him, holding up a whole conversation. I'm like, wow,
That's incredible, man.
that's pretty trippy. And then Josh Aragon, he's Mexican, but he speaks more Thai than he does in Spanish.
Wow, man. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a wild, man. Like, I mean, I guess they just learned it going over there and training. Is that what happened?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times they'll be having camps over there. Like Crew spent a couple years there, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The Sigaton.
And did they do any, like, did they take any classes or it was just, training where they learned the
Training.
language?
I think in Thailand it's a little different. I think if you go there, you just basically train a fight.
Gotcha.
Unless you're
Gotcha.
like one of those like tourists that just want to go there and hit some pads and take some pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Crew Walter has been kicking your butt for almost a decade now, or 6 years
Yeah.
rather. I wanted to ask you, Wilson, because you have fought for us, won a title, defended your title. Um, how many fights do you have overall in the amateur circuit right now? Would you say?
Off the bat, I want to say maybe 16, 17.
16, 17 fights. At what point, Wilson, do you think, if you're going to decide to, and I hope you do you think you're going to become a pro? At what point can we expect that?
Well, my next fight is supposed to be my pro debut.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, with Cruz trying to set me up to do my pro debut in with Lion Fights. He's saying it's either March or April. It was supposed to be at April at first because it was supposed to be like a package thing where Josh fought too, but things happened, didn't really fall through. But still trying to piece things together. We're still up in the air.
Yeah, yeah. And would this be in Vegas or would this be in California? Where would this be?
It's in Wyoming. Fuck.
Oh, okay, okay. That makes sense.
When do you think California is gonna have fights again?
Oh,
I
God,
saw your
Wilson.
post. You said 2025, and I was like, oh my god.
that's just that's just me being a depressed asshole, Wilson. That's not the truth. I'm hoping the second half of this year I'll be able to put a fight together, Wilson. I really think it's going to depend on how quickly they roll out this vaccine. And, now with this governor potentially being recalled, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking by fall the latest. At least I hope. I mean, I hope July, they'll give me the green light.
Okay.
I do have dates reserved, I believe in April and June and July. And, I was trying to do an event every other month in
Yeah.
Southern California. We were also starting to look at venues up north because, there's a lot of untapped talent up there. And, if you guys want to go up there and get busy, you would have had that option as well.
Fuck yeah.
It's just hard, Wilson. It's hard, man. They shut the whole state down, so there's nothing we can do, brother.
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. Fuck.
What's the chance that Wilson Ha, though, goes pro in kickboxing before he goes pro in Muay Thai? Is there a chance?
There's always a chance. That's something that I talk to Drew about, though.
For sure.
Yeah. Like I say, at the end, Crew basically makes all the decisions. He makes the final say, at least.
Yeah. And for people watching that don't understand, that's the typical, I think, culture, right? In combat sport. I mean, it's usually the coach that will make the decision. So I definitely, when I say stuff to Wilson, yeah, come fight for us. I say it with a grain of salt because I know he's got to go through Crew. We all got to go through Crew first. So
Yeah.
So I know how that is. So you're hoping to get in there for your first pro fight in your next fight. I think that's fantastic timing for you, Wilson. Do you think you'll try any other combat sport? Maybe go into MMA because I know a lot of guys. They do kickboxing or they do Muay Thai with the hopes of maybe one day going into MMA or something like that. Is that not your thing?
I've had, people are gonna think I'm weird, but I've had one experience with BJJ, and that was it. And I haven't tried it since.
Yeah.
And it was bad timing. Dude, we were doing something. It was my first time. Guy it was no gi, hit his thigh on my face, and I remember I tasted his sweat. That's one time. I'm gonna stick with stand up.
I'm with you on that one, brother. I'm with you on that one.
The other venues that I do want to consider trying is I do want to try. I don't know if you're familiar with Left Way.
Oh my God! Yeah, that sport is madness.
I do want to try my hands in that at least one fight.
You're a maniac. You are a maniac. Don't they headbutt each other in that sport?
Huh?
They headbutt each other in there, don't they?
Yeah, headbutts are allowed. It's just hand wraps. You can just hand wrap your wrist. It's like bare knuckle boxing, but with Muay Thai.
That's got to be the most terrifying sport on the planet.
Well, when you really think about it, it's almost like a street fight.
Yeah.
It's a little safer because, if you're out, they can't just ground and pound and stomp on your face.
Right. I think I saw one fight in Lethwell where the guy got basically knocked out and revived. Like they give your corner a chance to revive you, right?
Mhm. I think you have 5 minutes. I'm not sure. Don't
Oh
quote
my
me on that. You got
God,
5
Wilson.
minutes to come back and keep going. I mean, it's up to the fighter at that point. I mean, you just
Right.
don't know. If he doesn't want to fight, you just be like, okay, I'm done. But the thing is, if no one's knocked out, then
Yeah.
the fight's a draw.
Well, Wilson, I prefer you much more to compete in kickboxing. I think it'll be a lot better for the longevity of your career, my brother.
No, yeah, of course, but I just have a philosophy. Like you live once.
Right, 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 right.
I want to say that I tried it. Lose and that's it. And all right, stick with stick with what I'm good at.
For sure. Wilson, what about bare knuckle or regular boxing? Have you thought about those two at all?
Thought about that too. I have. I actually. I did want to try my hand in amateur boxing, but if I had more time, that would have been great. But it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
I'm 31 now, and
You're
balancing between like Muay Thai and then kickboxing and boxing in the amateur scene, it's going to be harder.
right, right. No, I agree. And do you consider yourself more of a kicker than a puncher or the other way around?
I used to be more. I don't know. I feel like my style has changed a bit ever since I had like that kickboxing fight with you. I focused a lot on boxing and my hands got a lot better. Back then, I didn't really have much hands.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm kind of glad to hear I had that effect on you.
Yeah, I mean, when I first took your fight, I was like, cool, why not? I was like, this could help me with my hands too. He said, yeah, that's so true. Tossed me in there. But I didn't. Fuck, I surprised myself.
Dude, you were a fucking Tasmanian devil in there, man. I mean, if anybody's watching, get on the Fighters Rep YouTube channel and just search Wilson Ha. Both of those fights were what the geezers would call slobber knockers. Those were some great fights. Um but yeah, so you're more, I mean, you would say you're a bit more of a puncher now, you were more of a kicker before?
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I wanted to say that I notice about your style is you use a lot of, I believe it's a kick to the body, and I mean this is not just a regular kick to the body, man. This is a I'm trying to kill you kick to the body. I mean, would you say that's your best strike?
Uh, yeah, definitely. My left kick is my bread and butter. It's what I fall back on a lot. Like
Yeah.
after my fights, like my whole left leg is just swollen. It looks like a turkey leg. You know the
Oh
turkey
my
leg that you get from like New Zealand, fat and brown.
Yeah.
My left leg would be like that, whereas my right leg, couple lumps here and there, but
Yeah,
my
yeah.
left leg, it's just swollen. It's just because I'm throwing it so much and it's constantly hitting like bone.
Yeah, 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 and you're nonstop, and it's hitting all the time, and is the left leg? I mean, do you have more power in the left leg, or are you trying to set up like a liver shot? I mean, is that a strategic thing?
Well, for me, I had back then. I always felt like my hands weren't as good as everyone else, so I would always try to take out, my opponent's right hand just to even out the boxing.
Got you,
I'm like,
got you, got you,
not that good. Why don't I lower your level to mine? I'll
got you.
take your power away. That's how I got my mindset off. I was like, okay, I'll take out your arm just so you can't punch as hard.
Yeah, yeah.
My boxing because my boxing sucked back then.
That's
But
really an interesting strategy that like people that don't really understand the stand up sports outside of boxing, they don't really understand that, and that's kind of something we saw in the last Canelo fight. Did you get to watch the last Canelo fight?
no, I don't think I did.
Well, what he did in that fight, Wilson, he fought for a super middleweight title against Callum Smith. He basically beat the shit out of the guy's arm to the point where the guy couldn't use it anymore.
Yeah,
And that's kind of a strategy that a lot of you guys use.
yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole point is to get a better advantage of your opponent. It's when
Yeah.
you're in that ring, it's either him or you. So why not try to stack the odds a little better for yourself?
For sure, for sure. But that's something, I mean, It's interesting because, people do that a lot in Muay Thai, kickboxing, but I feel like in boxing, that's not something you see that much. And then Canelo did it, and everybody's acting like this is some sort of revolution. But, we see it on like every fighter's rep card, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know, Wilson, if you got the chance as well to watch the last Fighters Rep event. We had Ethan Cachon compete against Anthony Warkin.
Okay.
Ethan came from up north. He's with John Sanong, Wooden Man.
Oh yeah. I think I did see that fight. I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ethan did exactly what you're talking about. He basically just wore away at Anthony's right arm, and I remember at the end of the fight, Anthony's right arm, I believe it was his right arm, was completely bruised up. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So that's like a fascinating strategy that I think you guys utilize that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
What would you say, Wilson, is your strong suit or your strong suits as a fighter? I mean, off the bat, I gotta say, your cardio seems ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But what would you say is your strong suit or suits as a fighter?
I think it's my heart.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's my heart. Just because, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back just as hard, maybe more.
Yeah.
Add a couple more punches and knees to it.
Yeah. And I mean, would you say you have good power, good technique? I mean, is there anything else about your game that you love? Maybe something you want to improve?
I do feel like I'm technical, and for the improved part, this past year since I haven't been able to fight, I've been looking at every single one of my fight videos, and especially the ones that I lost in, and then always just kind of pick apart all the stuff that I lacked on.
Yeah.
I've been using this whole year just to kind of round myself out. So the next time you see me fight, I'm gonna be a slightly different fighter.
Man, I cannot wait to see you, Wilson. It's been so long, and man, it's a real shame that they've kept you guys on the shelf for this long.
And oh my god, that's speaking of the shelf, the stuff that you posted, especially that one post, you really had me thinking. Where you reference the fighters as we're goods with an expiration date.
Right.
That's really true, and it really does suck for a lot of fighters in California.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't. And obviously, I know what you're saying. I'm not trying to make fighters seem as like some sort of commodity that we need to use up either. But for the people that don't understand what me and you were talking about, I mean the window of opportunity for a fighter is just so much smaller than I think almost any other profession in the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And for you guys to have missed out on over a year of sports, even though you guys have been training, maybe you're going hard in sparring. I know you train really hard, and people can go and see all the smoke between you and Oscar in our YouTube channel, and they'll see that you train your ass off. But it's never quite the same, is it, Wilson, as being in the ring?
No, it's different. It's so different. In the ring is somewhere where you can finally just let go. You don't have to hold back. I don't have to think about, okay, I shouldn't hit my partner this hard. Oh, I can't do this. In a fight is where you can finally just all that aggression, all that frustration, whether you have it at work, you have family problems, whatever it may be. It's the only place you can let it go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's frustrating, man.
Well, hopefully, man, hopefully sooner than later, Wilson, we'll get you out there, and we'll be doing shows at least every other month. I mean, hell, Wilson, I'm aiming for every month, so I'm gonna hopefully bring all that time back for you guys and give you guys a good venue to compete in. Wilson, man, I really appreciate your time. Believe it or not, I've already kept you for almost 40 minutes. I know the wifey's back there probably, ready to hang out with you. I don't want to take up more of your time. Is there anything you want to say to the fans of Knucklehead Nation, to the people that have supported Wilson Ha, and let them know also where they can follow you on social media.
Well, just follow. First of all, Knuckleheads, stay tuned. George, great promoter, puts on great fights. And you know what? You're just gonna have to keep on hanging tight. He's gonna put up another set of like these pure apex predators, just boom against each other. And you know what? Hopefully, I'll be there too. You know.
I hope so, man. Can't have a show without the champ. And where can they follow you on social media, Wilson, before I let you go here, bro?
Actually, pretty easy to find me. My Instagram is Wilson ha 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 ha. 4 ha's.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, Wilson, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate that. I hope we get to do this again soon. And I look forward to seeing you back in the Lions Den this year, man. Let's put it out there.
Yep. Hopefully.
And I hope you had a happy new year, brother. Thank you, man.
You too.
Have a great one, Wilson. Thank you, man.
All right.